The next thing I'm going to talk to you guys about is Pearl Harbor. Near 8 o'clock a.m. on the date of December 7, 1941, the surprising sight of hundreds of Japanese fighter planes attack the American naval base at Pearl Harbor near Honolulu, Hawaii. The attack lasted for 2 hours, which was a devastating time for the USA. There were 20 American naval vessels that were sunk containing citizens and military, 8 huge battleships, and almost 200 airplanes. There were 2,000 American soldiers and sailors that died, and another 1,000 were wounded. The day after the attack, President Franklin D. Roosevelt asked Congress to declare war. Congress approved his declaration with just one dissenting vote. December 7, 1941 was a date that would live in infamy in Franklin D. Roosevelt's speech that he gave. The next thing I'm going to talk to you about is September 11th, which is also known as 9/11. 2001, 19 militants associated with the Islamic extremist group Al-Qaeda hijacked 4 airplanes and carried out suicide attacks against targets in the United States. 2 of the planes were flown into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Centers in New York City. A third plane flew into the Pentagon just outside of Washington, D.C., and the fourth plane crashed in a field in Pennsylvania because of our courageous citizens that were on the plane that were being hijacked. They decided to put an end to the hijackers, and they stopped them, and that's when they crashed. The attacks resulted in extensive death and destruction, triggering major U.S. initiatives to combat terrorism and defining the presidency of George W. Bush. Over 3,000 people were killed during the attacks in New York City and Washington, D.C., including more than 400 police officers and firefighters. The number of employees that died in the first tower was 1,402. And the number in the second tower was 614. The estimated cost of the cleanup was $600 million. Fortunately, they received $1.4 billion in funding. In my own opinion, September 11th, I would have to say this is just a very depressing time for the United States of America. I think that it's just a very sad time for all of us, because especially the people that were born and that were old enough to understand what was going on during that date. Unfortunately, I was not old enough to really understand, but I didn't take it serious. But later on in my life, when I saw videos of it, it really opened up my eyes to the horrors that really were just caused during this time, and it was a very depressing time for all of us. It was a very sad time for all of us, because we witnessed people dying, we witnessed people jumping out of the towers, just waiting for them to hit themselves on the cement to die, because they didn't want to be burned alive. And unfortunately, we didn't do anything before they hijacked the planes. I disagree with the blame of the technology. I don't think that the technology was the main reason why they got through in the airlines. Honestly, I disagree with that. I believe that if we make airlines, if we make airports, shouldn't we have in our head that there are going to be attacks from other people that are going to be transported to a whole other side of the world to attack on on their enemies? And I just don't understand why didn't they didn't they search through? There were even stories of the person who was there right there and said that they had a bad feeling. They had a hard feeling about the hijackers that came through, and they didn't do anything. They didn't stop them. And just because that one moment that they didn't stop it and they didn't do anything about it, we lost hundreds of people. That day we lost hundreds of people. Just because of one person, Osama bin Laden. He's just an evil person. And everybody has their evils, but this person was just he knew what it was going to bring to us. He knew what it was going to bring to the people, and he did it. He allowed it. And the people that hijacked the planes and they didn't do anything, they didn't have any feelings about it. They were just they just did it because that was their priority. That was what they were sent out to do. They just did it, thinking that thinking that they were doing good for their country, thinking that they were doing good for their religion, for the family. They were bringing honor, and I honestly, I disagree with that. I don't think that if you bring honor to your family, that's not the right way to bring honor. Either bringing honor to your family is doing something better than blowing up other people, killing off people in our society. I disagree with that.